Alright, I got a 2017 Rogue here with a 2.5 liter engine. I had a mysterious misfire on this, and this was after getting the engine replaced in this, and I've got a video on that. But anyways, after getting the engine replaced, getting it running, I get this flashing check engine light that's just persistent, and it just, like I said, this thing will not go away. No other codes. We just got a flashing check engine light. The first things that I want to look at is the coil packs, the spark. I'm going to take a look at that and see what's going on. The compression, fuel, all the typical things that you would check, and everything's checking out. And I'm checking the wiring, checking the voltage, checking the 5-volt reference, the things that you would check. I had a good IPDM. Now that is one of the common things that you will find with these is with a bad IPDM, you could get some issues. Now this is just, like I said, a fancy little box that has built-in relays, and you got fuses on here, and all these were checked. But as far as the relays go, you pretty much have to replace this. You don't want to drop it, so this is the old unit. Now I got another one off another vehicle. They're not very, not expensive. I found one locally, and it's easy just to swap this thing out. So I matched up the numbers. This unit is actually, or the new unit was off of 2018, and this is off of the 17 here. So this is what this looks like. And it was just a cheap, easy way. It was like 25 bucks, and I could rule this whole thing out. And I know there was some mixed information about this. This did not require any programming. Now, if you've got a totally different one, I don't know. So the numbers pretty well all matched up, and the numbers are down here. This 5, if you can see those, 50NH number down to, or actually no, I think it's the one up here, the 284B7, 5NAOB. Well, those numbers match. Now, if they didn't match, I don't know. But there was no programming at all required for this. I plugged the other one in, and it's working just fine. So like I said, all of the fuses inside and out have been checked. I was reading the live data. It said the only thing I was getting was the multiple misfire, and it was consistent for it to be cylinder 1 and 2 when it would finally show my where the misfire was at. And my scan tool is kind of weird with this Nissan, but it would show up cylinder 1, cylinder 2 misfire, but could not figure out what was going on. The wiring appears to be good, the voltage, the sensors, like I said, crank sensor, cam sensors, all these things were ruled out. I had another engine. You can swap a lot of these things and easily rule stuff like this out. But, before you just go, throwing parts everywhere, it could get expensive if you're replacing sensors and things like that. But I really felt like, because it was reading the RPMs and everything, that it wasn't, anything to do with these sensors or these crank sensors. And I'm just kind of at a loss as to what's going on. So, the next thing that I did was to get the ECM checked. Now, it is not as expensive as you would think. If you go to the dealership, yes, it's going to be expensive to get things like this checked out. But what I did was send the ECM off. There's a lot of these repair companies that are really have high rated feedback on eBay or different places. I found one on eBay. If anybody's interested, get in touch with me, or I'll leave leave the name of the company. But they did a real good job. They had 2 techs look at the computer and come back and tell me, say, there's absolutely nothing wrong with your computer. We could not find anything. Okay, so I pulled that air duct off there because I want to show you where your computer is. This is the ECM right here. So you've got 3 plugs, and then it just has a 10mm nut, and there's one on the bottom. You can pop this piece out, and it's easier to get to that. So, but this is your ECM. So I had this checked by 2 different techs, You know, really honest people, because the diagnostic to look at it is like $125. You can't even have your car towed to the dealer probably for that. And you know, send it to them, they send it back. So they make way more money off of repairs than they do just checking it out. So very honest people, and at least I know that I don't have an issue. But said with the weird misfire, I was almost certain that this was the problem, and I was still in disbelief after it being checked. Okay, so this monstrosity we're looking at here is the engine wire harness. It's not the only wiring harness on this vehicle, but this is the one that counts in our situation. So this is the engine wiring harness. You can see where it hooks to the transmission here. We got the positive connectors. That's a little fuse panel goes in the fender well, and all the hookups for see our coil packs and the injectors. And said it's a pretty big ordeal to replace this. Now, said luckily I've got a guy locally, and I was able to get another harness. So it was off of a 2018, but it hooked up nonetheless, except for a few things. Wasn't no big deal. I think it had a few plugs cut off, but it's no big deal to solder some on. But anyways, I went and got another harness. This is my old one, and I put it on there and thinking, okay, well, this has got to fix the issue, and was still getting a flashing check engine light. Or I had to wait for that alarm to go off. But anyways, still, and couldn't believe it, still getting a check engine light. And in case you're wondering, replacing this harness with the engine in the vehicle is not an easy task. I think it took me like 6 or 7 hours to do this. And what makes it difficult is that all the connectors are difficult to remove. I had to use pick tools and things, and there's areas where it's just very difficult to even get to the plug. So I was really frustrated, to say the least. But you know, from past experience, you know, it's got to be one or a few of these things. So still had to check engine light flashing. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't really know where to go from here, but we're going to have to figure this out. It's something. Okay, so still had the flashing check engine light. If you know about flashing check engine lights, it is not good. You know, you will destroy your catalytic converter in a hurry, because it's just dumping raw fuel and doing things it doesn't need to be doing. It's going to definitely do some damage to the engine. So took the day, I just quit on it for the day. Come back out the next day and was able to crank it, and it was still flashing, but it was still flashing at first, but then it went away. And so I thought, okay, let's try it again. And so killed it, crank it again, didn't come back. Cleared out the codes, and as you can see, no flashing check engine light. The only thing on is just the door being open there now, but absolutely no check engine light, and has not came back since. So my thoughts on it are this, that there was an issue with the harness. I don't know exactly what that issue was, but it's not my first time around to have harness issues. But for whatever reason on this Nissan, something had to recalibrate on the sensors or the computer or something, and it didn't recognize it initially until after I started it and ran it several times, and then it quit flashing. So it was definitely puzzling. And I was almost thinking, well, I don't really know what I'm going to do. I'm going to start tearing into the other harnesses and see what's going on. But basically, I got the harness on, and I guess it recalibrated, reset, and then it quit flashing, and absolutely no more codes since then. So if you run into a similar issue like this and you got a mysterious misfire and you replace the harness, then don't give up on it initially, because the system may have to reset, or the computer needs to reset, or recalibrate or whatever for the sensors, because that was the issue here. Very weird, but that's the way it is. And you know, I should know from over the years, very few computers are bad, but it just seemed like a computer issue. I said I've seen 2 computers be bad in, you know, all the years I've been working on cars. So, but I have seen a lot of wire harnesses be bad. So that's usually the issue. And people always say grounds, this, that. I don't know. I'm not an expert on wiring harnesses, but whatever reason, you know, they get shorts and internal things that you know, you can't visibly see, but yet it's causing the issue that you have with the vehicle. And like I said, for me, you know, I was just getting the engine swapped over, and you know, I run into this immediately. So you know, you're thinking to yourself, well, I obviously didn't hook something up, or I've done something. But in this case, bad wiring harness. And I've, you know, seen several bad wiring harnesses, but that is what stopped the check engine light. So anyways, usually in the situations where I have flashing check engine lights and things like that, it's never anything really simple. In this case, it turned out to be the harness. I wasted more time sending the computer off, because you have to send it off and you know, wait for it to come back and everything. It just takes time. As far as replacing a computer on here, it's not quite so simple, because even if the computer is programmed to the VIN, they have to flash or do something with your NATS, your anti-theft system, unless they have your old computer. And I think they can like clone it on there, and you wouldn't have to have any additional programming. But you know, like I said, if you just ordered a computer, if you could find one anywhere, you would have to have somebody come out and pay them to actually flash it to your NATS security system in order to be able to start your car. So anyways, just wanted to make a video on this. Spent a lot of time on trying to figure out why I had this flashing check engine light, and hopefully this can help someone else out. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and thank you for watching.